Hello and welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL. We're coming in for our final game of the night. It's RNG versus JD. And JD, they took game 1. RNG managed to scrape by in game 2. There's a good chance that undefeated record coming in from JD will stay true today. Because honestly, what I'm seeing here from RNG, I just don't know if they're going to win the game or not. You know, we get to mid-game, they have an advantage kind of, not in terms of goal, but in terms of pressure. I'm like, they might still not win. I don't know. It's so all over the place from RNG right now.
It's very dicey, and you can't call game 2 a clean game win because a lot of mistakes did come out from JD Gaming to allow RNG to put their foot back into the game. And honestly, what I want to see from game 3 out of RNG is to have them have a dominant early game. We have not seen this in the entire series. And if you look at the games they lost to JD Gaming, they've basically been the same story over and over again. We're going to blind pick the Kai'Sa. We're going to tell you, hey, this lane is definitely punishable. We're not going to use Uzi's laning power over Loken. And we're just going to, kind of give up the lane, give up the early game, and say, hey, we'll meet you at the scaling point, and we hope you fail at some point. So it's not a very concrete strategy coming up from RNG.
Clement, do you want to know a fun fact?
What's a fun fact?
So if JD win here and you push RNG down into the bottom bracket, they'll be facing teams like EDG and IG. You remember the last time that we had a team that wasn't EDG or RNG in the finals? Season 5, when we had QG Reapers.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think a new team in the finals, basically, like a up-and-coming team that split. So, that's just the death of the talent coming in from the LPL, that you can have these new guys emerge and really challenge the throne over and over again, but all the way to a finals is still something that's like, very rare.
Imagine a world where it's just like you see Rogue Warriors come together in spring, and you're just like, in a split from now, they'll be playing in the finals. There's a very real chance of that actually happening if JD win this game right here.
JD Gaming were not even a playoff team in the last year, in the last year's summer split, when they had the spring split MVP of Doinby. So this is a massive improvement. They basically retooled their entire roster, and they're kind of, in a sense, kind of like Griffin, but with a longer history, with a longer organization history.
And it's just like, at a certain point, I agree it's an improvement, but it feels like they've almost ascended the point where you're saying like, well, this was an incremental increase in power to a point where they are just that, this is just a powerhouse team straight up. Like, you look at this team, and they're duking it out with the best of them. They're literally facing down RNG right now when we're saying they're probably the favorites to take this series. Like, that is such a difference from saying, well, it's a moderate upgrade from the last time they had a different roster.
Yeah, I think the two big things about this current JD Gaming roster is that they have no weak points in the roster. None of their members, you would say, is a below average type of player or can't hold up against their opponents in lane. And the second thing is just the cohesiveness of the team, which is really, really rare to see. The grouping focus, the way that they play around Loken, keep him safe at all times. It's very hard to find a new emerging team that works so seamlessly. Like, they're structurally sound.
It's character development, Clement, because I feel like with JD, everyone's had their time in the sun. It's just like we had an arc where Loken came into his own. It's like, man, this guy's getting quarter kills, and look how he's positioning in team fights. And then we had a time where it's like Zoom is just straight up outplaying people in the laning phase. We just saw Zoom in game 1 just body all of RNG, like 4 members of RNG by himself. It's just like everyone gets their own time in the sun.
So this is basically Shahu, and he's saying that I am a emotionless vampire.
Was that a vampire cosplay coming out there? Typically, vampires don't wear like neon blue.
I would say it's more of a Spirited Away cosplay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
faceless.
No face. Yeah. No face. Yeah. I dig it.
But I think it could be a sign. Maybe the fans want to see a Vladimir.
Maybe that's what it will take to bail this team out right now, because we're going into the third and final game. RNG in a home arena. I mean, you heard it from the crowd as well. This is 99% RNG fans in the audience at this point. I mean, the JD manager's there with his good buddy, and they're cheering. RNG are cheering 5 times, and it's just like JD going up against it, still managed to come out of the gate swinging, and we'll see if they can take it coming into the third and final game. We're going to hit Champion Select. RNG take away the Gragas, the Aatrox, and the Jace. On the opposite side is going to be an Akali-ban. No more of that, with a Xayah and a Varus coming through against RNG.
Okay, just don't pick the Kai'Sa. I don't think they will. I think Tahm Kench is one of those picks that they could consider, because it's it's been such a linchpin for JD Gaming in this series, and it does serve the purpose of protecting Uzi that well. Takes away from the Ashe Tahm Kench combo. So, like my predictions, They do go for the Tahm Kench first pick.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that crazy, right? I mean, are they actually gonna? Okay, we're gonna pause for a second. I mean, it had to be the Tahm Kench, but again, it feels like you're setting up for another carry in the bottom side. JD, I don't know if they're gonna lock it in. I think they're just hovering it, being like, "You want an again Uzi?
Okay.
You want to lock in another Kai'Sa?"
I can actually read lips because I understand enough of Mandarin, and basically what Zoom just said right there was, 这个选择好一点. This pick is better.
Really?
And they locked it in instantly. So you could definitely tell that he was murmuring when he hovered the Kai'Sa. He's like, dude, did you not see game 1, game 2?
That is hilarious. So we'll be the Ash lock in here for JD, the superior pick. Trundle, actually, an early rotation here for JD.
I do like the Trundle because it works really well with what JD likes to flex pick. Swain is one of those big champions for them. They can play it mid and top. And the Trundle is a very good counter for early ganks into the Tahm Kench. So that's why we're seeing it being selected here.
Oh, I've never seen this rotation come in from RNG before. Priority on the Tahm Kench on blue side into Kai'Sa. Who could have expected this follow-up? There we go. Right into the mid lane. Bit of diversity there for Xiaohu.
But I really like this RNG composition because it has a lot more playmaking potential, basically. You have triple semi-globals coming in from the first 3 picks. The 1-3-1 potential is really out of this world. And Yagao is taking himself into what is generally considered as a bad matchup. The Zoe into the Ryze is not favored than the LPL. If it goes late enough, the Ryze can usually run you down. So what JD Gaming are saying is that basically we're shifting our focus heavier into the early game. We've crushed you in game 1 and game 2. If we don't make mistakes, we should be able to carry it through.
And to be honest, that is just the hallmark of JD's play in general. It's like if they shut you down before the 20-minute mark, they know how to close. They have a step 2 in the plan. The problem comes when it gets to mid-game and you're even with your opponent and you're up against someone like RNG who has a straight-up incredible team fight just as a team. That's where the cracks start showing. But JD, they can nail down that early game. They will just close it before they can get to the mid-game.
I really like this Kennen take away from Let Me.
Yeah.
He's been playing a lot of it, and I think the reason he's taken away is because they don't want their top lane tank to be punished so hard. JD Gaming with their current roster, I do think they need to play have more of a stronger front line and just put most of their focus into the bottom side of the map. So they don't want that Kennen to be able to split push against them into the later phases of the game. I like that takeaway. It's also taking away a great combo between Ming and Let Me, where they have the Maelstrom in the Pokeball, basically. He can't attack the Kennen, but he can walk forward while electrocuting you. Not a very fun thing.
He wants. Yeah, Kennen taken away, no Camille, and it's going to be an Ornn ban top side, along with the Braum here towards JD.
Yeah, I really like that takeaway from Zoom as well. Zoom is a very big Ornn player like we saw in game 1.
Like Let Me as well, to be honest.
So I do like the takeaway. I think the idea is solid.
What?
What?
JD just locked in Zilean. This is actually not the first time we've seen Zilean this split. I know the last time we saw it, it just straight lost. I can't remember who picked it, but it definitely lost. But yeah, it's going to be a Zilean here from JD.
Could be Zilean's support.
It's possible.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've
got a Zoe pickup. There's Roman in the audience, full body paint right now. Fantastic. Give us a kiss. Yeah, so Zoe in the mid lane. Zilean, I would have to assume is in support position. I mean, I doubt it's going to be top lane, right? Especially as a blind pick. That would be the worst.
We've actually seen Zilean being played in support. I've seen it once or twice in the LMS, and it went against the Tahm Kench, and the basic idea is that if you land one bomb on the Tahm Kench and he tries to spit someone out, you have a very good chance of instantly stunning them with just falling on the second bomb. But it's pretty hard to execute, and to be honest, like, it's a 1 or 2 game strategy for the entire split.
I mean, frankly, this is a best of 1, so if you're gonna pull out some cheese, now is the time to do it.
Now is the time.
Yeah, RNG gonna pick up the Zachary here, along with a Gnar, so actually a good amount of team fighting and initiation coming out from RNG. I actually have seen Zilean picked up a couple times, specifically into Ryze, because you place a bomb on top of the Realm Warp, and you're like, all right, who's coming? Who wants to get stunned? And then you just immediately follow up with another bomb. So there are counterplay elements to this one. But we'll see how it does in game. Zoom's going to get himself gangplank once again, so that's going to feel good for him. But yeah, I feel like the big hot topic is going to be that Zilean.
Ah, man, we should charge that fan for that. He was advertising his own stream.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, at least multi-stream, man. Like, stay on this when you're going to want to see how this series ends.
This is the first time, though, I really do like RNG's draft. over JD Gaming. Like, it's the first time over this series. I feel like they have a good matchup in the top lane. Gnar versus the game playing is pretty good.
Yep.
They have a winning mid lane matchup if the game goes long enough. And for the bot side, to be honest, I haven't seen too much of it. I think the poke looks very intimidating coming out from JD Gaming's bot side, but I also think there's a reason we haven't seen Zilean being played at all.
Yeah, I think the Zilean is just like the special sauce, right? And I just don't know what it tastes like yet until we actually get into the game. The poke, as you said, really does look intimidating, but in that second game, they've never really, like, when are you ever going to pick up a Kai'Sa early rotation and find yourself a good matchup? Like, that's almost never going to happen, so it's almost like they resign themselves to a weak laning phase. It's like, well, at least we have winning lanes on top side, then we can survive the laning phase, get ourselves into team fights if you're RNG.
Yeah, so RNG has a very solid teamfight type of strategy, while I would characterize JD Gaming as a must-snowball type of strategy. They do have the superior jungle matchup, which could be huge when you have a Zoe as well. That is definitely a snowball point, but you know, if the game goes later and goes into 35 minutes where both teams are equal, I would heavily favor RNG's composition. It packs more damage, it packs more front line, and it packs more Roman.
Yes, I had to talk to Roman afterwards and see what he's doing there. He's just the man of esports, just everywhere.
Yeah, it's
with
amazing.
No shirt on. All right, let's get into this third and final game between JD and RNG. Again, a lot on the line for these two teams. Difference between getting that first round bye on the sides of the bracket as well. I mean, top side of the bracket is going to just feel super good for like everybody up there. It's like no EDG, no potential RNG, no Invictus Gaming. It's just like all stacked on the bottom side.
To most of our viewers, they wouldn't even recognize that side of the bracket. They'd be like, wait a minute, is this LPL?
Yeah. Where did these guys come from?
Right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, third game, last one off the line. Let's get on to the Rift.
That's a little yellow there.
Yeah, it's a happy color.
That's just his
hopefully
nickname.
it's a happy game here today for JD. I mean, I want to see basically a repeat of game one, to be honest. If you're looking at the way you want JD to win this series, it will be a repeat of that first game.
I think they're just going to crack down hard on the bot lane. This is such a dangerous combination for Tahm Kench. You think about the pillar and then a stun coming out from Zilean. It's very hard to actually survive that. And you also have to think about Clit having the superior jungle matchup. So he technically could force away Karsa on the Zac and just force that play over and over against the bot lane.
All right, what are the chances that Karsa goes for a level 3 gank? We'll see. He's on red buff currently, played into top side. He's going to take away the blue buff, looks like. I believe it's just a straight path through there. Yeah, I don't think he got caught on the ward necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think Karsa got any leash from his own bot lane. So the idea was probably that Uzi and Ming, they are putting a lot of eggs into this basket, so they need them to have the largest advantage as possible. Didn't really start for him.
And again, pathing towards that bottom side, looking for that full clear on bottom, but that's going to open it up for Clit right here. He's going to get the entire clear on top side. Let's see if he can actually, I assume, will he go back to base on this? Low on mana, but he's got enough health. He might look to one of these lanes or even go back towards his own top side of the jungle.
I don't actually think Karsa can equalize this part of the jungle safely. He's trying to go and equalize on the bottom side, but that's a very difficult task. I don't think he's going to choose to do it. He doesn't know where the Trundle is, actually, and if he meets him, he might just be dead.
I mean, look how much knowledge right now JD have of Karsa. They've just completely read his jungle path. They saw him moving towards the box side. He's not going to get the gank off. He was actually warded right there. You can see the rubble that's just come down on the crab. So you know where Karsa is right now on the crab for the next 5-10 seconds. And then if he wants to path towards enemy jungle, Trundle's immediately gone towards his bottom side. So Karsa has to go back towards the jungle. He's got nothing left. He's got wolves.
Yeah, that's too bad of a matchup. And I believe that's only the small wolves as well. So Clit probably only left him one single Merc wolf to chow down on. And that was such a brilliant read from JD Gaming. Now, I have to say it's not as hard as people, as we described it, because they sent Clit in level 2. He wasn't in the top side. He could only be in the bot side. And one single Ash arrow did find him. So it was a relatively easy easy elimination process.
Well, we're doubling down. Cleared. Can he make it happen? Uzi kind of back towards the tower. There's a nice save there from Ming. And double bombs will come through as well. Ming's going to take a little bit of damage from that Ares coming in from the backside. So nice defusal there from RNG, but having to play back. And Cleared will go and retreat into his side of the jungle. Still got multiple camps to farm for himself, so he's going to be pretty happy.
And look at the two sides of the jungle. Basically, you still have 4 camps up for Clid and 0 for Karsa. Like, the CS lead right now is still like 3 camps ahead, but it's going to balloon relatively quickly, and that's only going to snowball this situation even further. Like we said, JD Gaming, they are a more early game focused composition. It's a lot about tempo and winning these lanes and finding these skirmishes in the top lane, in the jungle, and they're setting themselves up very well for this.
Really are. I like what I've seen from JD in the early game, but again, of course, transitioning that into actually something meaningful, get some kills, get some objectives, and start snowballing that. So it will really be based on the first play. And Karsa, the bottom side of the map, pathing towards the bottom lane. He was spotted by Clid, so I'd be very surprised if Local Mal gets caught out by this. But yeah, of course, going to see him there. So Karsa not going to find this gank. But we'll go towards his Krugs, find those once again. Currently level 4 versus Clid level 4, but I believe Clid is about to ding 5 on his next camp.
Yeah, here's the only respite coming in for Karsa is that the scuttle is going to happen in the bot side. You can see Clid pinging it out right now. So what that means is that there is a good chance that Karsa can then take his own Gromp and might alleviate a bit of his pressure. That's a very long stretch for him to make, but it is up there if he wants to take it.
Karsa really just committed to this bottom side, at the very least a counter gank. That was Blast Cone just being popped there, and I believe he was also spotted up by a ward there from Karsa. And Clid now pathing towards the mid lane. Again, Rise backing away, no mana, probably looking for a back to be honest. Has that mana crystal and a refillable. So Trundle, maybe a little bit sad, doesn't get anything. But looks like he's on Crab right now, so...
it's pretty lucky for Karsa, to be honest. If that Crab was on the top side of the map, just look at how good Clid would have pathing. You could go with Raptor, take out the Crab, go over to Gromp, come back for Krugs, you know, force in top lane at the same time. So, you know, RNG is on RNG's favor this time.
That's fair. I mean, he might just do it anyway. It's just not going to be Crab up there. But so yeah, second bus will be spawning relatively soon. So likely he's just going to stay on top side of the map. And Zoom, how's he doing? Pretty much been farming happily. He's got his Sheen, just been farming up against the Snar. Hasn't really been putting too much pressure towards topside. Karsa, most of his time has been looking for scraps in his jungle, looking towards the bottom lane to stop these counter ganks. But I think you were right on the money when you were talking about the poke coming through from Loken and Lumao. You can see that almost a 3-wave advantage for Loken so far.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's 2 waves at the very least, and he is going to have the extra sustain to force this lane in even harder. And that's kind of the price you do pay with Tom Kench. I believe on 8.16, he's got it even harder in terms of the meta. Won't have that Devour cooldown. Is actually doubled on the cooldown.
That's a long cooldown now, yeah.
So, you know, play Kench when you have the chance. This is the
send-off tour.
RNG. Yeah, basically.
Name's Let Me will land the wallop, looking for the ultimate as well. Shoves him back towards his minion wave. And in comes Clid out from the jungle, though, for the counter gank. Turn around from Zoom. Has to flash the pillar. And Clid, he'll be happy with this one for sure.
So that actually turns out as a win for JD Gaming. Zoom is going to be able to sustain himself, and he actually saves his own flash as well. Don't think that's too bad for him.
It was well played in terms of mechanics, though, from Let Me, and there's no real reason to send Gangplank flying sideways because he's technically closer to his tower, and he's Gangplank, he'll just orange out. So open up as much distance as you can with the Gnar ultimate. Just unfortunate that it happened to be around topside.
And you can see Karsa actually stabilizing very well. He's only 1 camp away from Clid at this point. He's been doing it mainly by just taking away all of the bot side camps. So a little bit of luck helping him on. And of course the clear speed from a Zac is actually much faster against a Trundle without the Tiamat early.
Yeah. Luckily on bottom side you've got multiple AoE camps, so it's like it's not the worst for a Zac, but it does mean that in top side he's just Gnar's just by himself, you know, in the lane, so it allows the Gangplank, especially a Kleptomancy Gangplank, to get all the farm he needs. So it's just something in the back of the minds currently, but it's also nice for Uzi, because he always knows that Karsa is going to be relatively near.
Yeah, and talking about Asian games, there was actually a poke composition that a lot of teams like to run. Chinese Taipei and China ran it. And the combination was the Jace top, Olaf jungle, and Lulu mid. So you basically have push priority in all 3 lanes, and you go super hard on the early game. You try to tower dive everything. And this is a very similar composition actually from JD Gaming. They have the superior jungle matchup, the mid game matchup, and they do need to try to push these advantages because really isn't that much of a late game to talk about. Like, I don't feel like they have as good of a late game as RNG's composition. RNG, I feel like they have the 5v5 and the 1-3-1 as well.
Yeah, they have a lot of tools, a lot of ways to navigate when this game goes 30 minutes and beyond. But keep highlighting this early game and the specific first couple plays that we see. The skirmishes are going to be very important for JD. That's going to when they're going to hold a lot of power as well. You know, your Gao's going to be hitting like a truck. Gangplank will be hitting first, second item. Loken as well. And it's Zilean. I mean, early game and those skirmishes, that's where Zilean really shines because he just brings someone back from the dead and then you just have numbers advantage again. So that's really where Zilean finds a lot of his stock in the pick.
Yeah, Zilean is really good if the enemy team composition has a lot of burst combinations that they can't really easily replenish. But I think for RNG, they actually have a lot of sustained DPS.
Yeah, they have a Rise and a Kai'Sa.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they actually use Zilean. Of course, Zilean at later levels, he can full res a person pretty much to full.
Yep.
And that's one of the big advantages. You can see Clid once again coming down. They have the level 7 versus level 6 advantage. Of course, if you have the Zilean, you do get that. But interestingly enough, Zoom kind of gives away their intentions because he uses his ult top lane just to clear the wave.
Ming going to be bombed up here. It's going to be a pillar over the wall. Where did that come from? Trundle just finds his way towards the bottom side. And no kills so far in this third game between JD and RNG. Just cresting the 11-minute mark. Kai'Sa, just a bit of spring cleaning.
Takes a level lead over Clid, actually. He started out 3 camps behind, but was able to farm his way back into relevance.
Yeah, I mean, Clid's actually been looking for a lot of ganks recently, whereas Kai'Sa has primarily just been farming the jungle, so yeah, it does make a bit of sense. As Zoom still farming. I mean, Na's about 2 waves ahead of him, but Demansky should be even up, if not putting him ahead right now in that matchup. And Clid's actually staying around top side. Let's see if we can get anything done. Zoom doesn't have his ultimate, but does have his flash, and Letme is still down on his.
Right, so he should be spotted out right here.
Yeah, he is as he turns the corner. Letme already trying to waddle to victory. He's going to get
good pounce,
but he just hops away.
Yeah. That was a really good direction from Letme. Actually, I felt like Clid could have changed his angle a little bit.
What a punish coming in from Letme. He literally walks him back from his tower to the enemy tower, and Zoom's just farming minions. It's like, well, there's nothing I can do. I got no CC, so it drops Clid to about a 3rd HP as he goes back to his jungle.
And this is so favorable for RNG. They are the ones that want to go later in the game. And there has been no kills. JD Gaming not able to force a Ash Arrow. And they also get this same play once more.
Rotate Uzi and Ming to the top side. They're onto the tower. It's going to be actually a tower race here.
They're going to get 2 for 1. Like, they're going to get a Herald, the first brick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a part of that was based off of Clid deciding he wanted to go for a top lane gank when Shelly had spawned. It's like, well, if this doesn't go well, which it didn't, lots of damage going on towards him from Letme, then Shelly's now under attack. It's going to be a 2 objective trade for 1. And first brick actually went over to RNG right there as well. So it's just a double win. It's a triple win.
JD Gaming are trying to make something happen on this wave alone. They do have the Ash Arrow coming in. I think they're going to try to make a stand here.
Yeah, you got pushing forwards. There's no one really here to hit. And JD are just kind of behind the play, you know, like they're not being as proactive as we've seen them before. And RNG, they make the proactive move. They actually punish the play coming in from Clid, and they took so much from it. JD response, mid lane tower pressure, will drop it to half, but it's nothing really tangible right here.
Yeah, there's no opportunities for JD, and the worst thing for a poke composition is if the enemy takes your first tower and goes into rotation mode. That means the strongest point of your entire composition is pretty much nullified. You don't get the time to actually have people sit underneath the tower and take damage from you without giving anything back. And RNG, they're doing a perfect transition from a quiet laning phase into a safe 1-3-1.
It's just strange, you know? It's just like, if we came in and this was game 1 of this series, I'd be like, JD haven't really found their stride just yet. Like, they haven't managed to set up all of the great set plays that we've seen from over the split, specifically into RNG. I mean, that's just a straight lie, because this is the 3rd game in the series, and game 1 was the polar opposite, night and day to what we're seeing in this 3rd game. It's just not the same like tenacity that we're seeing from JD. They're not making these ballsy plays. It's just kind of sitting back, waiting, and it's just like, what are you waiting for? It's just the same thing we said in game 2. What are you waiting for when you have RNG with this basic, just really good 5v5 comp? And as you said, they're going to be better in the 1v1. As soon as you hit like 30-35 minutes, it's going to be RNG's game.
So this is JD Gaming's gambit right here. They're going to force the 5v5. They know Uzi's tendency is to farm it out and let his teammates defend. But they're going to have to look for a very good poke here. They do have the AoE stun potential from Lumal, and I think if they can combo that into a barrel chain, that's probably the best combination they could look for. But unfortunately, the wave's going to get cleared out by RNG, and once again, they lose their opportunity to land any meaningful poke.
It just hurts so much right now, because JD have lost tempo. They have a Herald in the back pocket if you're looking towards RNG. Karsa just place it down in any one of these lanes as soon as they open up an advantage. It seems like the steam is just being kicked out of JD right now. It's just like they've lost all momentum in this series, and they're not making any plays happen. Like, you're looking towards scaling options. All right, Zoe, when she hits, 1 item, 2 item, Gangplank as well, when he starts to hit item spikes, is going to be a big deal, but with 0-0, it's 15 minutes, and RNG are like, more time to farm up Uzi, more time to farm up this Rise.
This is great.
Yeah.
I love this situation. Like, I feel like JD Gaming's big mistake is that they didn't actually target the bot lane as hard as they could have. So, if you think about it, they have the Ash Arrow, they have the AoE stun coming out from Lumal, but they've thrown 1 gank at it, maybe 2. And none of those actually came to fruition. A little bit late on that execution.
Minion Wave came in and he just managed to see the Herald being spawned right there. So it's like, all right, loose the arrow, see if we can disrupt it. But Uzi was standing in front. Zoom getting chased down in the bottom lane, and in comes Ming as well. The whole party is here. First blood goes over to Uzi.
And that's just the beauty of this RNG composition. It's a 1-3-1, but it's also semi-global. I think Rise and Kai'Sa really are RNG carry's best champions. The way they play it, their understanding of these champions. There really is no other team that can play this type of way. And once again, we're really talking about Kai'Sa 3 ways, if you will. We've seen this match, this series so far, the late game teamfight Kai'Sa, the 1-3-1 split pushing Kai'Sa.
Now who getting chased back? JD looking for this right now underneath this tower. Loken low, but he's going to have the Xin ultimate on top of him. Karsa drops into his own passive and cleared, ready to bite down on this one. They get the kill onto Karsa. Ming trying to get out of here, but he's going to get dropped by Yagao and Xiaohu as well. Running back to his tower, dodges the stun, but still being chased out by Loken. That's going to be 3 kills to JD.
Great play coming in from JD Gaming. Right when things were looking very dire for them, they do manage to find the comeback, and a lot of that was Zoom cutting into the back line. You can see RNG was cut off on the right-hand side of the map. They've already dealt the majority of their damage onto Loken, who was rezzed by Lumal, and the rest of the fight just snowballed into JD Gaming's way.
I mean, it was a great opportunity, and they seized it with both hands. We'll get a tower back in the bottom lane for RNG, but I honestly feels at this point, Clement, I just don't understand League of Legends anymore. It's just like, listen, the setup isn't there, and then JD out-teamfight them in mid lane.
Nobody expects the Gangplank teleport. That's one of the hardest things to actually see in the game right here, and you can see the teleport coming in the back. RNG do ping it out immediately, but they still can't dodge out from Zoom's trajectory right here. Look, Xiaohu and Ming have nowhere to go, and Uzi's cut off on the right-hand side. I think that's the key thing about this fight. Lumal with his double bombs up, with the entire JD Gaming team moving forward, Uzi didn't have a chance to do damage
I don't think he hit a champion, actually.
He definitely hit Loken a lot of times, but that was negligible.
474 damage, yeah. I mean, if you actually take a look at Uzi's damage dealt to turrets, I reckon it's significantly higher, because he was specifically focusing down on the tower, took it out, and then pieced out of the fight. Yeah, he was just not there.
That was really good forcing from JD Gaming. A lot of the times in teamfights, it's about forcing the enemy team into a bad position where they can't deal with the terrain. Like, when Uzi's cut off, when he doesn't have a front line in front of him, it's hunting season on the rest of RNG.
Well played to JD right there, just punishing RNG. Gonna even up to 3-3 towers. That's actually a terribly dropping top side. And yeah, next round is gonna be Infernal, and JD suddenly looking strong, cresting the 20-minute mark. And it's just like, sat back on the laurels and it's like, all right, I'm expecting something to happen, but they managed to find the punish. And now look at them. They look like an entirely different team, pushing into the enemy jungle, placing down deep vision, aggressing onto the red buff.
I wouldn't say they're out of the woods yet. They still have a lot of 1-3-1 to contend with. I just don't see how they keep up. So basically, RNG's job is a lot easier from this point onward. It's just make sure your 3-man in mid lane isn't caught. Like, and the rest of it's fine. The rest of it's Gucci.
So RNG, just need to see them keep scaling up, but JD, what's their aggressive move going to be? Because taking the red buff, fantastic. You can see all that deep vision into the jungle, also great, but what's that actually going to turn into? It seems like top lane very much exposed. Baron's about to be spawning in about 40 seconds from now, so there's a good chance they actually start rotating some of the pressure towards top side. RNG just walked through their jungle and cleared out everything, by the way. That was a massive sweeper coming in from
That's side
Karsa.
lane pressure for you.
Yeah.
I think what's crucial for JD Gaming is actually to land an Ashe arrow. Like, they have very limited ways of engaging on opponents.
That's a Tam Kench.
Well, okay,
instant stun coming through. Xiaohu flanking from the side
Zoe's
though, and Karsa immediately onto Clid, drops him. That's a good Zeal ultimate, but he is far separated from the pack. In comes Yagao, puts the damage down. There's the abduction coming out actually from the Zhang. He flashes the wall, and it's so but no one has died yet. Finally, Ming finds the kill confirm onto Clid, and Lumao very much in enemy territory. Flash forward, it's gonna be a kill over to Uzi.
So it's a 2-for-1 in the end, but that was great play from RNG. That's the 1-3-1 potential we're talking about. And with Rise doing the side lane pushing, he can come in at a moment's notice. Double globals expended right there, and they cut off JD Gaming. They force a 5v4 at the start of the fight. Now Yagao's walking into the brush. Xiaohu actually doesn't spot him.
Found him right there. This could be the trouble ball falling down on top of him. We'll have to burn the cleanse. The rest of the team's right behind him, but looking for the trade-off right now. Takes a tower shot. The outplay with the overload.
And the Seraph's ready to back him up. Basically, Yagao was betting that Xiaohu already used that item active in the previous team fight, but that was not the case. Xiaohu was holding on to that skill the entire time.
Mr. Straight 1 versus 1 outplay. Feels bad of you, Yagao, but nice extra chunk of change in your back pocket if you Rise. Now 4-4 in terms of kills, but RNG starting to step it up now in these team fights. That last one was very chaotic, to be fair. I didn't even know it was a team fight as much as it was like a 5 1v1s around topside, but still able to get the better of them.
Yeah, but the question is, how do JD Gaming really respond now? Like, I feel like RNG can just run that play over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, the silent pressure is not going to swing back into JDG's favor. So they just need to have patience to execute that. Yagao looked like he was about to win that fight. He started out so strong, but Rise with the sustained damage, he already survived through the first burst. Xiaohu knows that he can continue to go in onto Yagao, and he held onto the Seraphs active to the very last second, just to bait Yagao to overcommit.
Yeah, there's actually Spellflux coming in there at the end as well for the confirm kill by Xiaohu. Yeah, I mean, just a little outplay. And again, JD, it doesn't feel like it's going to get better for them. You know, you've got 2 items on the Gangplank. He's also picked up another BF sword. Mid lane sat on an item and a half as well. Maybe you're looking for a completed second item on Yagao, but at that point, it's like, all right, it's do or die, right? Like, we have to win the team fight right now and get the advantage and stay ahead of the curve. Otherwise, that Rise and the Kai'Sa are going to be a serious issue as the game goes on.
Yeah, that play from Yagao was definitely a bit of desperation.
Yeah.
He understood what the game state was like, and he said to himself that I need to make a play right now.
Yeah.
Zoe going into the 30 minutes with no real snowball lead over your opposing mid laner, it's so hard to actually play, and there's no way you can... Oops. Okay, here's the Ashe arrow we were talking about in the 1-3-1. Can they finish it?
Rise, a lot of the CC is gone, but Luma's going to lock him down and get the kill.
So that was pretty lucky from JD Gaming. They probably did catch Xiaohu trying to back in the brushes. That would be my guess right there. But they need to repeat that play over and over again. Against the 1-3-1, I think the classical answer is to have very, very fast response times. Make sure you get a pick and then sync it up with an objective so you can make the maximum out of that numbers advantage.
I like this coming out from JD. They know they have to make a play right now, but Ming teleports in behind him with the Abyssal Voyage. Karsa waiting over the wall. It's down to 4,000 HP. Uzi stepping up as well. It's low, but it will be down to a 50-50. Trying to clear out the vision. Down to 2k. Karsa looking for vision right now. Jumps over the wall. Looking for the steal. He takes it. Gets it. Karsa finds the steal on top of Baron. Now they're looking for the team fight. He splits into blobs and let me. He's pushing forward, looking for access into this fight. Uzi on the front lines. Blows up Yagao. And the rest of JD on the retreat.
Yagao with another misplay. He goes in trying to finish off the low health Karsa in the passive, but Uzi just lights him up.
Massive play coming out there from Karsa. RNG with the 1-2. And now JD firmly on the back foot. I mean, if there was any turning point in the game, there was any decisive moment you can look back on, that was it.
Yeah, definitely. Karsa again with a gigantic Baron steal. This is the reason that RNG picked him up. If you go to 2017 All-Stars, MLXG couldn't hold a single Baron, a single objective against Karsa, and once again he proves his worth in the pit.
See, the setup was there. JD trying to stall damage right now, looking for the burst, and Karsa, as clean as he like, down to 200 HP, just finds the smite.
Yeah, he does have the 2-level advantage over the Trundle. Now, do remember Clit had a very good early game against Karsa, but couldn't outfarm the Zac. And once again, Karsa saves RNG, puts everything on his back with that big objective steal.
Now RNG, it feels like there's very little to stop them right now in the game. They have the Infernal Dragon, they've got the Baron. They're ahead in terms of gold, approaching the depths of mid-game, honestly. Kais is looking good, 2-0-2, sat on 2.5 items. And it's just like outside of a big play, outside of a pick, and you're sat in this situation right now as you're looking at a team, and it's just like, all right, well, it's down to the classic, list of plays to come back into a game. Find a pick, find a good punish, find someone out of position, but they're waiting on a mistake now.
Yeah, and just look at this. Loken does have the ultimate up. He is going to go for it.
It's onto Tam Kench.
Oh,
Ming flashes the wall. Yeah, Uzi now on the retreat. No one to save him, but the Gangplank ultimate's there. Doesn't quite find the slowdown. And JD looking for another opportunity, but diffused by RNG.
They still have another chance to catch out Let Me, though. He is caught on the top side without anywhere to go.
Yagao's on his way, but he's actually choosing not to. Zoom is quite far away from the Gnar. Mid lane's now being sieged
and
in.
Look at the bottom side.
3-man push coming in. There's literally no one defending. I mean, we've got Loken heading over now, but there's no Ash Arrow. He has his flash, but the tower's already dead. RNG got what they came for. Just a good rotation.
Yeah, RNG doing the maximum possible
punish. Uzi flies right into Lumao. He'll pop the Zillion ultimate just in time, but burns the ultimate ahead of a potential team fight.
And he did that all by himself. That was his own
Flash
damage.
After, they have to try and make something happen right here, JD, but in comes Karsa into the back line, finds the slam onto 2. No, with the top lane tower, and Karsa just back towards his team. Zoom getting chased down, and Uzi is untouched right now. A Xiaohu opening up the front lines for another Ikefian rain. Loken kiting backwards, no casualties just yet, as down goes Karsa.
It doesn't really matter. RNG still get 2 towers out of the entire ordeal, and look at how confident they were taking a fight. This is their strength in the 5v5s in the late game. I should say a 4v5, but they have much better constitution on their champions when it comes to the late game. They do much larger portions of the sustained damage, and they were able to brute force and turn around a 4v5 to get extra objectives.
Yeah, Let Me just sat top lane, took 2 towers. He's feeling pretty great. Both inhibitors now exposed in top and bottom lane from a rotation and a well-timed team fight coming out from RNG. I mean, it just seems like RNG just turned it on. I don't know where this RNG was in game 1. It felt like they just decided they wanted a 3-game set. They wanted to build it up for all the fans right now in the arena. But this is just exceptional plays coming through. I mean, Uzi, again, just sees the opportunity and blows up Lumao.
And this is so massive because he takes away the rezzing opportunity from Lumao. And in the pursuing team fight, I think that's the main reason they were willing to stay and fight with uneven numbers. There was no res going to come out. Xiaohu was able to be taken away by Ming. And just look at Karsa taking in all the damage, getting 2 carries as well. It just didn't look good from JD Gaming. And you have to say, their time has already passed with this composition.
Yeah. It's real unfortunate that minion wave actually blocked Zoe's skill shots coming in from JD. You saw the Zoe push forwards and it's like, oh, that's on a minion, that's on a minion. It's just like super unfortunate stuff from JD, but RNG picked the perfect fight at the perfect time off of honestly a setup from Uzi alone. That was the best Kai'Sa setup to a team fight I've ever seen.
Yeah, and this is the problem about JD's composition. You have to play so tight with your laning advantage, with your jungle advantage, because if you fall behind, you actually don't have good engage to come back. Like, it's actually very hard to find the catches for them. They do have the Loken arrow, but just look at how Loken had to get that arrow off. He had to have Zillion speed him up and walk towards people to chase down that arrow. And even with Tahm Kench missing his cleanse, he still couldn't find the kill.
Yeah.
Like, this composition is so hard to play. Like, your windows of opportunity are so small, and it just doesn't strike me as a JD Gaming type of comp.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can say that they look towards the early and the mid game specifically, and that does support like the JD hallmark of play, right? But yeah, there seems to be like zero backup plan, and they didn't play it in the way we expected. In comes Carson. Now he's locked up underneath the tower. Great CC chain coming in from JD. He's going to hit the passive. The rest of the team onto the tower, but this is going to be a dead Zac for sure. Clid claims the kill.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate situation, and they're so close to the home base that Gnar was not able to split push down in the inhibitor.
I mean, this is the time where the Cloud Dragon really pays dividends. They're just running away from JD, and there's no way they can catch up to them. Zoom actually had his ultimate, though. I'm shocked that he didn't just choose to pop it.
Definitely could have tried for that. I think he was leaving it just for the potential split push.
I guess so, but I mean, if there's a potential to pick up 1 or 2 more kills and then convert it into, at the very least, Baron pressure.
You're not going to get that same opportunity again. There's no way that Carson makes that same mistake.
I mean, he flew in, he put himself on the silver platter.
Yeah.
He was like, please take me, right? Like, there's not going to be that many golden opportunities. You're absolutely right. So JD, feel like maybe that was a missed opportunity. I can understand if the ultimate's not going to be up in time for Baron, but it will be very close. Unless JD have some master plan at play, you know, you take what you're given.
Pretty much. That was an overconfident play from Karsa, so if you don't land on the initial hit of the elastic slingshot, there's no way that works. You just instantly get stunned and you die. So it was a very confident play that he was going to go in, he was going to land the E, get the knock up, make sure there's no reaction time for Loken, but hey, you know, Loken's pretty good. He kept his KDA at the top for a reason. So
I mean, that's the issue when you use a Zac elastic slingshot from inside or not outside of Fog of War.
Yeah.
When you're literally just standing in front of them, you charge up and then you jump in front of it. It's just like, it's the reason why like Malphite is not picked up anymore. It's just like you see it and you're just like, I guess I'll just move slightly to the left.
2 pixels to the left.
Yeah, and then your engage is gone, right? So typically when you want to see those plays, it's outside, or it's in Fog of War, rather.
I feel like they could have had more creative ways to actually just force down that. They could have used the Realm Warp just behind the tower.
Yeah.
And if I'm JD Gaming, I'm getting out of there.
Yeah. So it's one opportunity, and JD pushing up to the Baron. It's not lights out just yet. Clid playing Possum. He's going to find Xiaohu
in a really awkward position.
Yeah, popping the ultimate here to try and get out, but he's CC chained. There's Ming right now with the save, and Clid very low, but Carson nothing to pop towards there with the stretching strike. He'll jump back to relative safety as Loken is still pushing forward. Look at this Ashe! Absolute madman pushing forwards on the front lines here. Lumal sees his opportunity, comes over the bomb, tries to find the lead! Uzi blows up the Zillion, and now you get under attack. Carson from the side finds the abduct onto Zoom, and the rest of the team getting blasted by Uzi. 1 versus 3. He claims the triple. That's going to be the ace for RNG.
And this should just be the end of the game. Uzi going into the backline, 1v3, taking out the entire squadron. JD Gaming were so desperate. They were running forwards. They had to find a kill. They had no answer for the split push, but it was just too late. You could see 3 Mile Zillion didn't do anything in that game. They just didn't have the engage to follow up.
The crowd goes absolutely ballistic to see Uzi pull off a play like that, and RNG claim what is rightfully theirs, their first round bye.
And I feel more happy about this win for RNG than their Asian game win. Because they've taken down Korea before, they've never taken down JD Gaming.
That's true, they've overcome their final demon in the LPL. JD Gaming, 4 series, and they win the final one. I mean, it just feels good if you're RNG, if you're an RNG fan, to finally make it happen against JD in the home arena as well.
And you could fault RNG for probably being too gun-ho about the Kaisa strategy, but at the same time, they didn't
it works, right?
They didn't reveal anything. They still have time to fix their strategy.
They gave it the exact same draft 3 times in a row, yeah. It's like, hey, they won with it.
All 3 times, they had to go to the late game. Their early games were pretty suspect.
Yeah.
I feel like they got lucky this game as well. The early Scuttle RNG was actually massive for Karsa. There was a real chance that he would have fallen behind 2 or 3 levels even, and JD Gaming's entire game plan would come to fruition. But that didn't happen. They held on to the safe lanes. They went into 30 minutes, and everything was just stronger on RNG's side.
Yeah.
JD Gaming had no answers.
Yeah, and sometimes when you have a player like Uzi, he'll just do Uzi things. You know, he'll just win the game, and that's just another thing you can count on if you're RNG in those clutch situations. It's like the flavor text on a card, where it's just like when put under pressure and it's game 3, Uzi will win the game for you. It's like,
Uzi
all right.
definitely plays up. Now, I know this might not have been Uzi's motto in the past in 2017. You could fault him for Game 5 performances, but 2018, when it comes down to the line, when it matters the most, Uzi is our king.
Yeah, Uzi is clutch. Huge plays coming out for him, huge plays coming out of RNG, and I think the biggest thing to take away from this is the fact that, yeah, they didn't show a whole lot. They showed the exact same thing. In fact, they probably showed a very weak draft multiple times in a row, but it still worked. They brute forced it. In the end, they managed to take the win against JD. They beat the team who had beaten them over and over and over again in 2018. And they also get themselves the first round bye. They go into the top side of the bracket, so there's another chance that we have an RNG EDG final once again here in summer 2018.
Woo! RNG keeping our script alive.
Yep.
Praise the Lord, RNG.
God
like,
bless.
if they went down to the qualifiers, we've been harping that this has been the year of the dog. I don't want the dog to end up being lucky on JD Gaming's logo. Now, that is actually a demon dog right there, but you know, we hoped the dog would actually refer to Uzi.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you know, just God bless them for keeping up with the script. I thought they were going to tear it up for a second. It's like, oh, you can't do that? No. So, again,
everything in control.
I mean, last time that we saw a team that wasn't RNG and EDG in the final was Season 5, but there's a good chance that doesn't change here in 2018.
Yep, we're really glad that we can keep the same writers here, recycle the script once more. And RNG keeping their golden narrative alive. They have a straight path into the finals in what we consider as the much easier side of the bracket. And hopefully, if they take first or second here, they would go to Worlds directly. So that's a massive win for RNG.
Exactly. The only real hurdle right here would be Rogue Warriors now coming in into the semifinals. If they drop down to the bottom side, then it's literally the playoff bracket of death. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one, because if they ended up there, it would have been in the bottom side with EDG, IG, and then you've got multiple curveballs. Even FPX is down there. It's like, get down in the dirt with us, RNG. Let's rumble, you know. But now RNG managed to secure their quarterfinal bye coming in here. They're going to be on the top side of the bracket, so you can see that they'll be facing either TOP or Suning Gaming, and they'll go on to face Rogue Warriors in the semifinals.
So this is a really interesting playoff bracket we see right here, because I feel JD Gaming is actually the stronger team in both their first round of playoffs and the second round against EDG. There are much better performers right here, and that's going to be a very interesting matchup, because we could see them slot directly into qualifiers if they manage to take down EDG. Now, on the RNG side of the bracket, I think it's kind of a done deal, but everyone is looking for Rogue Warriors versus the RNG showdown right there. They didn't get to meet each other in the previous spring playoffs. It will be the first time we see a big 5v5. And Rogue Warriors, to me, they've been the cleanest team this entire split, while RNG has been somewhat shaky. Now, in this series, the question really is, are Rogue Warriors just playing off the weakness of the Western Conference, or are they actually that good? Can they actually put their names on top of the top 3 teams in the LPL?
It's a fair argument, you know, but that will definitely be spicy. Yeah, there's still a chance as well to see a rematch of Rogue Warriors versus Invictus Gaming if we hit finals, or even third place, actually, to see them go head-to-head once again coming out of spring. But we can take a look at the standings. To finish off the regular season, it's going to be Rogue Warriors 14-5 out of the Western Conference. Invictus Gaming leading at 18-1, almost undefeated right there in the Eastern Conference. Very similar to Spring Split, I might add. And RNG going to be just behind him with that win on 14-5.
And I have to say, Rogue Warriors probably did not want to see this happen, because if Rogue Warriors got JD Gaming, it was a very high chance they would move into the finals. And if they moved into the finals, they were guaranteed to go to Worlds. So a massive blow to Rogue Warriors. You know, I felt like they had a great split, beating up kids in the Western Conference, but now it's time to face the realities of the East.
Yeah, indeed. They were the biggest JD fan. Maybe the other 5 people in the audience were actually just Rogue Warriors.
Oh, yeah, it was Steak right there.
Yeah, they were just sat in Beijing. Made the trip over from Asian Games. It's like, let's go to Beijing, folks. But yeah, no, unfortunately, in the end, so Rogue Warriors is going to be a much tougher ride for them, because if you're going to have a RNG who are going to be playing at their top performance, you know, when they go into playoffs and the best of 5s, RNG is an entirely different beast. You can say that about EDG, a lot of the old historical teams, that when you hit playoffs, I think Spring was the best example of that, when it's just like, oh, they're looking kind of shaky into playoffs, and you just blast everybody going into finals. And it's like, what? CDG versus RNG again? Who could have guessed that, right? So, again, entirely different teams going in there.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be such a spicy matchup. We also have
Yeah.
Suning coming in. We didn't get to see them in spring either, and they've been looking incredibly strong. Hacker, probably
That's
one of
true.
the top 3 junglers we have so far in this split as well.
Yeah, we thought they were going to be super damaged coming out of Spring, but losing Knight in the mid lane
Yeah.
is just like, oh no, apparently they're still good. Now they're a playoffs team. Actually going to give the MVP over now, and it's going to be Uzi, of course. I mean, who else could it be after that performance? It's going to be Uzi, year of the dog, year of the Uzi, Kai'Sa play. I mean, square, hole, circle, peg, doesn't really matter. As long as you've got enough brute force, you can make it work.
Yeah, I actually just can't believe it. They have the Kai'Sa. They picked it 3 times in a row, and all 3 times was in the top side of the draft.
It was
So-
either first or second rotation.
Yeah. They were very dead set on that strategy. That's
Yeah.
one of their strengths, but I also have to say that's one of their weaknesses.
That's
It's
true.
really easy to target down something that doesn't have lane priority in the bot lane.
I mean, I liked it in the 3rd game because we actually saw the Tam Kent priority,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, thank God. There's actually some protection around this pick now.
We don't have to pick Karma? Yeah, this is a win.
All right, this is the draft that we needed. But yeah, we can just see Uzi right into the back line. 1, 2, 3, knocking them down one
Oh.
after another.
Just look at how much gold was popping off right there. That was like 2,000 gold, 800
made a
gold
lot of gold,
bounty
yeah.
at the end for
He
Uzi.
cashed
His
in. He's
own
going to be buying
hand
some
right
real
there.
estate after this game. Yeah, fantastic.
He has enough money to buy real
That's
estate
true,
without
yeah.
that.
But now he's got even more, Clement. No one's ever going to say no to more money. But no, congratulations to Uzi. Congratulations to RNG as well for claiming their quarterfinal. And yeah, I mean, it's just RNG, again, like out of regular season into playoffs, they're going to be different teams. They're going to be playing differently. Draft's going to look different. Them in a best-of-5 format also going to look different. But I think this was the very final thing that they had to get over. If you're looking at any hurdles, it's going to be them trying to take down JD because they can win Asian games. They can come and get some gold medals for the country. But you can't beat JD until now, until this game.
Yeah, we didn't work for nothing this entire year.
There you
know,
go.
The entire
The script is
storyline was
alive.
shaped up. You know,
Yeah.
we're shipping it the entire way through. We're already at the localization process.
Yeah.
You know, we already have the
It's ready to ship.
the
Yeah,
Legends
publishing was good, yeah.
episodes already, half filmed down the way.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we don't have to throw all of that down the window.
yeah.
RNG are
Thank you,
still on
RNG.
track to have one of the best years in League of Legends history. Remember,
Yep.
Uzi has won every single championship that he's participated in 2018. There hasn't been a single tournament he hasn't won yet. He could finish this year as the year of the dog,
Yep.
the year of the king,
Yep.
whatever name you want to call it. This could be the golden year for Uzi.
It's the golden age of the LPL, to be honest, at this point. We're looking at 2018 as just a microcosm. It's just like truly LPL is a protagonist. And if
Yeah.
you're going even deeper, it's RNG. If you go even deeper, it's Uzi. Like, Uzi is the guy that you're going to be following all the way through these tournaments. Now heading into Worlds, like, overcome Rift Rivals, that even went over to Asian Games for us. That was like the filler episode. And now you're going on to, like, the final arc, which is going to be Worlds, right? Everything's just going the way of RNG.
I think filler episode's a bit much.
It was a good
I
filler
enjoyed
episode.
it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it was specifically written by Asia. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's an
definitely.
original episode.
It's a regional episode, basically.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool conclusion to our split so far. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and just like catching us the entire way through. There's so many new teams that we want to talk more about to you. There's so many more styles.
Yeah.
And we really just hope you will continue to
Stay with us, because there's going to be lots of great games coming your way for the rest of playoffs that'll be happening next week. We're going to have Monday and Tuesday, and immediately be here with Wednesday to start off our
very short term.
round one. Of
Yeah.
course, remember that coming out of third seed means that you have a one-game advantage coming into round one. So if you're starting off at the very start, it's going to be a long, long climb because that's essentially like a best of 3. Then you have a best of 5, another best of 5 if you want to try and make finals, and then you have potential regional qualifiers. So it's going to be super difficult if you want to make the full run. But hey, anything's possible. If we've seen anything here today, that anything is possible. If you want a first rotation Kai'Sa every game, you can still make it happen against JD. For now, though, we're going to head on off. So, on behalf of myself, Cass's earlier today, Clemens, everyone on the English broadcast team, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you again on Wednesday.